Sometimes when I talk about the mega resorts, I use the word luxury, and this is not a word that's caught on despite my best efforts to make it a thing. But I want to talk about that word for a minute because it's a really, really interesting one. When you think of the word luxury, a few products or product types will come to mind. For example, you might think of a really, really fancy car like a Rolls Royce or a Ferrari or whatever. You might think of really high-end accessories. I don't know what most of these are, but like Louis Vuitton or whatever, luxury handbags. You might think of a luxury restaurant or something where you're paying $300-$400 a plate. In each case, as you think through these products and you try to find patterns behind the scenes, some interesting things happen. You might start by thinking about quality, right? But that's not necessarily true. A luxury car might break down much more than a $25,000 car, or a luxury handbag might get worn out just as fast or faster than a $50 or $60 handbag. You might think about the colors they use, or the typefaces, or the style, or their marketing. All these things are true to a point, but they're never true across the board. And really the only thing that you can count on 100% with luxury goods is that, without a doubt, they will cost more. And that's an interesting point to realize, right? We often say that, luxury goods, man, they're so expensive. They cost so much more. But I think we get that wrong from a marketing sense. Because if luxury goods across the board are more expensive, this ends up being a reason they are luxury goods, not vice versa. For example, if you want your good to be considered luxury, you have to charge more. I don't think there's any way you could be considered a luxury good and price your product the same as a normal middle class type product. That's an interesting thing to think about. So let's pivot this back to the ski industry for a minute and talk about that idea of price being a marketing tool you can use to position yourself in the market versus other companies. So let's talk about Vail. Tomorrow is going to be crazy. Icon Epic Passes will drop. Will be all about season passes. So let's just get this idea out of the way before that mayhem ensues. Vail's tagline. Quick pop quiz. What is Vail's tagline? Like nothing on earth. When that is your tagline, it is very clear what position you are trying to maintain in the market is. And that is that you are the epitome of the skiing experience. What I'm suggesting, the dots I want to connect here, are that if that is your position in the market, if that's where you want to be perceived versus other resorts, price is going to be a really important part of that. So right now, tomorrow, Vail is going to roll out a season pass that basically costs the same for all the different resorts. It's not, the pricing will not be a luxury good level price. So the only lever they really have to pull is, well, at least with the skiing experience, you could talk about lodging or other things, is their window rate. And we all know that every Christmas season, every holiday season, window rates go through the roof. But I want to point out a really interesting aspect of those window rates. No matter how high they get, Vail's are always the highest. Now you could call that incidental. You could call that a financial team influence decision. What I'm suggesting, though, is that it's not. That highest window rate in the industry is a very, very intentional play to maintain Vail's position in the market. Think about Ferrari for a second. If Ferrari started charging $20,000 a year for their cars, after a few years, you could assume that they would no longer be considered that same type of luxury good that they once were. That price is critical to maintaining their position in the market. Likewise, if Vail lets other resorts that they would indirectly consider inferior skiing experiences to theirs, if they let them outprice them in the market, suddenly Vail loses in some small form that position that they've maintained and held in the market for a long time. So, yes, price is absolutely a play to, like I've said before, to get headlines, get on the news, and tell the more inclusive message of the Epic Pass. But price, I believe, is also a tool they're using to position themselves in the market. I think to reinforce this, let's make a prediction. Vail's window rates will not just be crazy high for the next 5 years. Let's say 10 years. Let's go crazy. For the next 10 years, Vail's window rates will be the highest window rates in the industry for the next 10 years. Not because the financial team said so, but because the marketing team, the branding team said so.